Napoleon Hill once said, "Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit." And we couldn't agree more. This is Lift Me Up. We're here to have candid conversations about something we all face, trials and heartache. We're here to explore the positives that emerge from these things. We have a blast. Remember, no matter how tough things may seem, there's always a way to rise above. This is Lift Me Up.
Welcome back to Lift Me Up for this week's episode. Just chilling and villain. I don't know. Anyway,
chilling and villain.
Chilling and villain. Chilling like a villain.
Chilling the villain. Put him on ice.
I think that's the phrase we were going for. There is chilling like a villain. You just added something new into it, but that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, why not change it up a little? Well, welcome back.
It's good to be back. We've had an awesome. I think this is our 7th episode into the new 3rd season, and we've had some awesome interviews and some great conversations about the Lift Me Ups and the things that people are doing around everywhere. And and I know that we've got some awesome stuff coming forward. We've got some things that we're trying to line up that are pretty big. Some big guests.
Yeah,
Mike's working behind the scenes on, and
it's a grind, but it's going well.
Hashtag NFL.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what a tease.
So I know, right? The good tease. Anyway, but it's good to be back. We've got a very good old family friend, Mr. Mitch Workman. It is wonderful to have you on here.
Yes.
And, that old friend. I mean, I think we've been friends since we were, oh my gosh,
dating yourself.
It's gotta be 40 years.
Yeah. Like something.
When did you guys move in? How old were you?
I mean, I was 2, I think.
And
when we moved,
we've lived next to each other the entire time.
Yeah,
that entire time. So I guess from the time we were 2.
So probably pretty close to that 40 year then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're both 45, plus or minus. So
yeah, plus or minus.
Isn't that crazy?
That is wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, so long time and wonderful friend. We're excited to have you on and get into some of the fun Lift Me Up stuff that you have to share with all of our audience. So, but as we always do, we got to kick it off with our Lift Me Up moments. Mike, you want to kick it off, or you got one?
I do. Yeah. There's a couple. Pause, by the way. I'm trying to decide. It's actually a good problem to have. This, these times is when I kind of try and decide which one I want to share, versus having to go like in past where I have to look at my calendar to decide what actually happened this past week. But for me, I'm just going to share them both. How about that?
That's fine.
The first one is the engagement that we get on social media, which honestly is not a crazy amount. And so I am calling out the fellow lifters. Is that what we're calling our followers? Our lifters. I would love to see more engagement. And by that, I would love to see more comments and feelings and thoughts on our posts. We want to hear more from you. It helps us to bring on more guests that align with what you're looking for and things like that. I mean, not that we haven't had already great guests, but I would love to hear that. And so one thing for me, the content this week is I did share a post, a short video about gratitude that I've had this last little while about this podcast. Honestly, it has been a blast actually starting this back up. To be honest, I look forward to it. Before it was difficult because all 4 of us, we were just trying to get schedules, and then it would get discouraging and coming up with content, a subject matter. I mean, there was times that we were figuring it out as we were going. So having guests has helped a ton, and I just have been grateful for being able to interact with the people that we've had so far. And I just shared that. So that was one lift me up, is that it was a good reflection for me. this past week to kind of just reflect on just how fun this has been and how much I thoroughly enjoy it. So that's my first one. I do want to share my second one because it's not boasting, but I am proud of it. This past week, I was able to go to a sales summit for our company. We have a little over 1,000 employees, almost 1,100 employees in the company, and about 200-ish of those are salesmen, our outside salesmen. And so we do a sales summit where we do breakout stuff with vendors and just training to get better at what we do. And at this, I was not aware of it, but they've done it in the past, but I didn't realize that they would do it again. But they highlight one salesman from every vertical. So there's about 12 to 15, about 15 different people. Actually, I think this time they added one, but about 15 to 20 people that were highlighted as top salesmen in their vertical, and I got highlighted, and I didn't know. So I got brought up on the stage and was able to be recognized for the hard work that I do in my area and collaboration with other salesmen and different things like that with my position. And so I didn't know it was going down. So I feel pretty excited about it. It was very humbling and exciting to be recognized amongst the salesmen. Our company does like a peak performer thing, which is whole company wide. And there's like seriously like 70 people that get called, and that's cool. But this one felt more personal because it was in a field that I'm very passionate about in sales and stuff. So this one felt a lot more personal. So I was pretty stoked about that. So that was
awesome.
Two good lift me ups this week.
Dude, congratulations. You didn't even say anything.
I know. I got anyway. Yeah, it was cool.
You called me to say, dude, you got to listen to this podcast while you're driving, but you didn't have any thought to say, dude, guess what I did? Guess what happened?
But it's Whatever. It's I don't know.
The other thing I know is that you must not have played golf very well because you didn't say anything about that either.
Ooh, it was real ugly. Yeah, it was real ugly. So
all right, well that's fair. Oh well, congratulations.
Anyway,
that's really awesome.
Appreciate that.
And I think what was it, 2 weeks ago or 2 episodes ago we had Joey on and we had a great time talking to him about that. So he would have been there too, right? So,
yeah, he was awesome. He was there. So it was really good. The whole executive team. So from CEO all the way down to all of our directors, sales directors and stuff were on the stage. So I got to go through that line.
Still owes us some golf, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Joey, if you're hearing this, I did mention it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff.
So
well, I'll share mine. Mine's a bit. Mine's different.
As well it should be.
So yeah. So my daughter's been going through a pretty rough experience right now. And what I'm really thankful for, and what I think we hope to be able to do. I know that one of the reasons we started this was to find an avenue for people to have a different type of a motivating message, right? And something that could lift them up and bring them in positive spirits. And I think what I realized, we had a really rough day today. We had some stuff that she had to go through that made me better understand. I think I have a greater sense of empathy for, people that struggle through challenges in total, no matter what it is. But the bravery that comes with doing that is super, super admirable. Now, I am being vague for a reason, so I can't get into details of it. But what I can say is that I'm grateful for family, for friends, for people that just have the wherewithal to just say, how you doing, right? Or to just be there. What we've learned over this experience is that it's okay to just be somebody's ears. they need somebody to listen. They don't need somebody to respond. They just need somebody to give them a hug. And that obviously, in many ways is just as powerful as the words that might come out of our mouth with a thought. And I think the lift me up for me was what other people have done for me and my family over the course of the last, month as Janie's going through some challenging stuff. And, her birthday is in a couple days. She's turning 22, which is crazy. But it's like, okay, what's the next milestone? What's the next thing? What do we look forward to? And where do we lift up? So that's mine is just the level of appreciation for people that are in our lives means a lot. So that's mine.
That's
Lift
awesome.
me up. Now, Mitch, I can't wait to hear yours. That's you've listened to a few episodes and we've talked about it.
Yeah.
And I think Mike and I are definitely excited to kind of hear yours.
Well, me too, because I've thought about it and I still don't know what it is. Kind of like Mike. Like there's a lot that you could pick that I could pick. And I have thought about it. Contrary to people who know me, they probably don't think I think much. But I just before we got on here, started recording, I guess you were coaching me on how not to say bad words and stuff. But we were also talking about, I had just got done with a orchestra concert for my 7th grade son. And, I kind of have to continue the theme of appreciation and gratitude, and not just for like, him and his opportunity to learn a skill and an instrument, but like I'm just really grateful for educators, like especially in the fine arts that usually get the short end of the stick, or oftentimes can get the short end. So I'm just really grateful for them. And then to kind of maybe I don't have to call this a second one, but to kind of piggyback, I'm also grateful for gratitude and the principle of it. Like, Mike, your post kind of hit home earlier, like you mentioned, earlier in this week. And like, there is a power, and I've spent way too many years not understanding this, but there is a power that comes in just from having gratitude that really kind of lifts, at least it lifts me up. I hope it lifts everybody else up when they can kind of experience that. But I don't know. I'm grateful to have gratitude and the paradigm shift that it brings. So I don't know. There's a lot of things, but at the end of the day, it's really kind of just that for me.
Awesome. It means a lot. I think there's a theme, right? Like grateful for recognition, grateful for the people in our lives, grateful for the experiences, grateful for the fact that we have the opportunity to learn in so many avenues in so many different ways, and it's powerful. It makes a big. I saw a quote. I don't know. I can't remember exactly where it was, but somebody had shared that we exist on Earth to be able to make an impact in other people's lives, because that's what our Creator wanted us to be, is not to be just here, but to play an impact, right? And play a role. And I was like, man, if more people just like thought that way, like how can I make an impact in somebody else's life? It's hard. Like I don't think any of us would think that it's not, but we're so afraid to come out of our comfort zone to play an impact in somebody else's life, to then allow them to experience gratitude or whatever it might be. It's a balanced game in this world we live.
I think to tie on that, like, it's like it can be that much harder if you are dealing with something yourself, right? And I don't know if cliche is the right way, but to look for the good things in life when you're going through that, like that's hard to do for a majority of us. But when you are able to provide, like myself, right, to provide something for somebody and have them actually have some sort of self-realization that they're grateful for what I did, right? The powerful movement that they have, because I know, and I say this from experience, the powerful movement from someone's, willingness to do something for me in a moment that I felt down made that moment so much more powerful that I was able to actually see some light in, that gratitude. So, going back to what you said, Nate, like you feel like you don't belong to in that moment of impacting someone's life. Well, in all actuality, there's so much more to it than just telling yourself, they don't need me, because you
Yeah.
don't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Like we never know that. We just treat people the right way and let it impact how it's going to impact. And sometimes you're right. It may not do anything. It may not have any impact, but there's other times that it is the biggest thing in their life.
It's funny. Do you ever think of the selfishness? Like,
Yeah.
have you heard that? Like, where people are like, the contrarian always comes up with the idea that, well, you're only doing that because it's selfish. Well, okay. Like, why is that? Why is that selfish? Why is me doing something for somebody else selfish? Well, because it makes you feel good. What?
Yeah, that's a
like, come on.
byproduct.
It's
100%.
like, that's exactly, it's the byproduct of it. So anyway, I
Megan
appreciate
gives
that.
Megan gives me crap all the time that like I'm willing to jump at an opportunity if like one of my friends or neighbors that say, "Hey, I need a little bit of help," or I offer the help, and partly because I thoroughly enjoy it. Like, I do sometimes think of it selfishly in the sense of like they see me helping, but at the same time, it's like it's because I thoroughly enjoy doing it, and
Yeah.
and then I don't get projects done at home, and whatever.
And then you're in trouble.
Yeah. But anyway.
Well, Mitch, you want to tell everybody a
sir.
little bit about yourself? And and I know Mike and I got some
Yeah.
questions so
You bet.
for you. So
it
why
should
don't you
take
tell
about
everybody?
Well, yeah. So I grew up down the street as a kid from Nate and Mike, like 5 or 6 houses away.
5.
Played ball 5 houses. I didn't say 6 or 7, so you can thank me later for that one. But yeah, so I don't know. Like I grew up in small town, an average guy. I've just got 2 kids, a wife. I work a job. I'm in marketing. I do, I don't know, a little bit of everything in terms of what that entails for marketing. And I just enjoy living life and have kind of learned to be more appreciative of small things over time and learned to make more observations, I guess, that of things that, didn't even hit the radar when Nate and I were ditching class in high school, or not that we did that, but hypothetically, had we ever ditched class, we wouldn't have noticed some of the small things that I notice now. And, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else there is to share about me. There's really not a whole lot. Like, I'm just a guy. So, but I do have dirt on Nate and Mike. If anybody ever wants to get some,
not nearly as much on me as you do, Nate.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Yeah.
So that's
way
true.
more on me than Mike. But
well, Mike, your dirt is buried underneath underneath all of Nate's dirt, and so it's
probably
going to take
true.
a minute to get there, but we'll get there.
Yeah, yeah. Get a backhoe and spend some time and see what we find. No, I think the it's funny, like the reconnection of stuff that happens over time. It's easy to, because we did. I mean, we went to school together, same elementary school, same junior high, same high school, and then
all
once
10
high
years
school hit, it felt forever. Was mine a little longer though? It might have
Nope,
been.
you barely made it.
I barely
I don't know.
made it.
I had 2 years of kindergarten, so I mean, there is that.
Well, I guess. No,
skipping isn't as easy as people make it out to be.
And it's impossible to do without smiling, just so you know. Challenge your kids to skip without smiling, and it cannot be done. Just throwing that out there for
I will do it, and I will record it and send it to you.
Oh,
Okay.
I love it. That's going on the lift me up. Um, we do, like, when we were talking about having you on, came together pretty quick. And the funny thing is, the two of us started talking. We're like, it'd be really easy to go into just all of the reminiscent stories that we have of just absolutely fond memories. I mean, I remember, putting a stereo in your truck, and we wired it wrong and had to redo it, and and how many different speakers, and then all the stuff. It's just super fun memories that we could just absolutely go into.
The
Some
Ford
that I
Falcon.
still, yeah, the Ford Falcon. My
Was
my
it?
kids literally have Mitch stories from when they were little that they still remember. And when I told them that you
I'm
were
not
coming
paying for
on,
that counseling. If that's if there is trauma,
Janie,
you brought that on
there-
yourself, brother.
yeah, that is exactly right. There are stories there, though, that exist, and are just fond memories, and just humorous memories. But they involve a lot of other people that were a part of our life too.
Yeah.
We had Trevor and John and Matt, and a lot of stuff that Curtis, and so many different things. So it's really cool to have that type of a friendship and relationship. I feel like Mitch is one of those people I could just call and say, "Hey, man, I just need to talk." Like, you know what I mean? Like, you need those people in your life, and it doesn't matter that for probably 10 years we didn't really have a chance to talk to each other, because we were figuring out young kids and life and dating, and all the stuff that comes with being early on in relationships and marriage, and growing up. And then boom, social media just takes off, and it bridges the gap of how
Yeah.
we communicate with each other. So really, really
Well, I'm
thankful
glad
for
you
that.
feel that way, Nate, because you can call me anytime.
Well, that's
You
good.
too, Mike.
What's your phone
You
number?
can call me.
Put it out
I
there.
don't know that I'll have much to offer you, but you can call
Yeah.
anytime.
Okay. One thing I want to bring up initially, and I think is actually awesome for this episode, and as we're going to find out, there's much more to it. But in your little questionnaire that we like to send out to our guests, many a times, and you've already said it 2 or 3 times, is you just consider yourself an average guy. And the best
Yep.
part about that is we may not think that there's a story there to our life, right? But as we're going to find out in this episode, we all have something to offer.
Yeah.
Even if we feel like we're this average guy, because we're all different. We all take things in a different direction. And honestly, I think it's a perfect segue into just like, what do you have to offer that you may, you think that you don't, right? Like,
Yeah.
you've gone through a lot of stuff too, that the little that we know, as from our side of it, and plenty of those other years that you've gone through, that we haven't been around, that you've been able to learn from and can share to help others as well. So I'm really excited about that for this. So
Well, I'm average. But so Nate, you said something. You talked just a second ago about like some of the dudes that we grew up with, kind of like our cohort of I don't know, whatever,
Dudes.
just a bunch
Just
of dudes growing up. We
crew.
just
Yeah.
screwed off and messed up
Yeah.
and whatever. But like, you don't think about it much at that time. I didn't think about it, but those were like, for me, they were building blocks. And I can look back now and I can see how that time kind of formed a foundation of certain, beliefs and interests and skills and opportunities that was fertile ground for me to grow who I am, if that makes sense. And so, while I think the word that came to mind when you brought that up was not lift me up, but build me up. Like those bigger time spans may not just be individual little moments, but a compilation of things that kind of build up over time. And I think I don't know, it's just looking back, it can be more you can recognize that more and be more appreciative of those things. Um, and yeah, it was fun, but it had a great. I mean, I believe that it had a greater purpose than just whimsical moments throwing rocks across the street and trying not to get caught by the cops,
Yeah.
which may or may not have happened.
Which may or may not have happened.
Wow.
Whew, that
But,
was a wild day.
we might need to do, you know what we might need to start after this episode? We might need to
What?
start Lift Me Up After Dark and just let you guys go out.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. That would be
the
an interesting,
darker side of the light. There you go.
That's for the Patreon page that we don't have yet. That's the
there you go.
subscribe and
Here's some of the deeper stories that we can't share on your typical podcast.
Oh wow!
But
I do agree with you.
Yeah. Well, and Mike, you said something. I don't remember what you said a minute ago exactly, but you talked about relationships. I think it was you, and you guys know my dad. He passed away from cancer like maybe 15 years at the end of this month.
Wow,
crazy! 2011.
Yeah.
Super crazy.
But as it is with cancer, you know the clock is ticking, and the last couple of months I had a few conversations with him, as one would, being his son, and him knowing how much growing I had yet to do, so he's trying to impart his wisdom. And of all the stuff that he could have shared with me, the thing that stuck out the most that he wanted to make sure he was really clear on was, well, there were two things, but I'll just share one of them, is he believed the whole purpose of this life is relationships. Nothing else really mattered as much as the relationships that we have, and putting time and focus into those. And that's always stuck with me because he lived a life that way. And I'm sure he had some people that he kind of ruffled feathers with throughout his life, but most people that I think knew him and associate with him would comfortably call him a friend because that was his philosophy. And he didn't grow up in a home that way, but that's who he decided he wanted to become and develop. And anyway, that light that we share with each other is that, it's what feeds those relationships. So anyway.
So let me ask you something about that. Like, you alluded to your dad, like, and the home that he grew up in. You shared a little bit, in the questions that we kind of try to ask. How do you think that home life and his development and building into who he later became, what was the timeline of impact that you feel like made the biggest in part for you long term?
Well, it can be a long story, but I'll try to keep it short.
We're here. Where are we going?
I hope you guys are listening to this podcast on a long drive through Kansas. No, but he grew up in a small town in Utah, Tooele, Utah, and he was born in the mid-40s, and his life was like, his dad basically worked all the time, very blue collar, really rough job. Bring home a check, give a little bit to his mom for groceries, and then go to the bar and spend the majority of the rest. And there's a lot of rough language and abuse and different things that wasn't uncommon back in that time, but definitely was prevalent in his house. And he just didn't like to be home a lot. So he and brothers and friends would spend time, doing teenagehood things in town and getting into trouble and, not not caring really, not having a direction or caring about life, but he loves sports. He was making money at like 11 or 12 years old at the pool hall, racking games of pool or billiards. And caddying on golf courses. He learned to golf just by watching people for days and days and days, and just anyway. But one day in his junior year of high school, he passed his football coach. And he loved football, so he said something to the effect of, "Hey, Coach Williams," his name was Bert Williams. I think it was Bert. He's like, "Hey, I'm looking forward to football next fall." Kind of like, "Hey, man, I'm ready to go. Let's go," And big bravado of a 17-year-old or whatever he was. And the coach just like looked at him and just said, "Hey, Workman, if you don't shape up, there's no football for you." And that was like the first time in his life that he had any sort of leadership figure hold him to or give him some sort of expectation. And I don't think Coach Williams at the time, I don't think he thought about it. I don't think it wasn't something planned like, "Oh, I'm going to give this guy a good lecture about how to change his life." It was just clear direction from a leadership figure that kind of put my pops in his place. And so he just, from that point on, like, he realized that some of his homies that he was hanging out with were not good influences, and he just quietly observed people that were getting good grades, that were staying out of trouble, what were the things that they were doing, and he started to mimic it. And so he would attend church, he would go to class, he would go to the library, which I think you had to ask directions for, which I think it's a genetic trait. You have to do the same thing.
I didn't know we had one.
Yeah, the Dewey what system? We don't even have that anymore. Anyway, that was the real catalyst. And so then he kind of spent time shaping his life and figuring out what he wanted that was, different from what his home life was growing up. He had a good family, just the environment itself, it was like it didn't have a lot of great example. And so he had to kind of forge that himself, and did a pretty good job for the most part. I mean, I would have picked a different brand of belt, but it was okay.
Different brand of what?
Belt.
Oh.
Just kidding. I never got that.
Well, the wooden spoon, though, now, on the other hand. I mean, that one, Mom got popped with that one. I got that one a few times. Now, I think I appreciate that, because I think it illustrates what I think more people experience in some fashion, of that you said it perfectly, the catalyst, and what tips to the point where you learn to go, which way are you going to go? Mm-hmm. Are you going to go this way or this way? And I remember, I think most all of us can probably pinpoint an individual or an experience that put us in a position where we said, I'm no longer okay with just being okay. Like, I want to be better than what I am. And I know I can absolutely pinpoint what that was in my life. And I'm sure that many others can probably experience the same thing. It's when what was I trying to say? That's might be a first.
Yeah,
I
don't know. Something I find interesting, that you brought up, Mitch, is that build me up comment is, golly, you really do look at it that way, as all these building blocks that we have the ability to stack a certain way, and it can take us up and then this way, or it can continue to take us up, and we see what you want to be and what you want to. I mean, obviously it sounds like your dad was an incredible person, in the sense of he was very he analyzed everything. I mean, he learned how to golf by looking at people. He learned how to play pool probably by watching them get hustled.
He was good.
He he watched, he watched what people were doing that were succeeding in life. I mean, that's difficult to do, because that's something you most of the time look at and be like, well, I'm going to compare myself to them. But really, I think that's a building block. He used all those blocks for the better for himself to get him to where he was at. And I think that's a great example of that, of, your comment on that. I think that's awesome.
I think it's interesting too, like, you use that example. We could come up with our own lives and our own examples
Yeah.
of those building block moments, and a lot of them we don't even recall. Like, we're 40
Oh,
plus
yeah.
years old. There's a lot of recollection out in the void. Hasn't come back yet. But I'm a big light guy. Like, I love this whole idea of light and dark and all this stuff, but the light, I guess where I'm going with this is darkness is simply the absence of light, right? And so whether Bert Williams knew it or not, or any of the other peers at his high school knew it or not, or other leaders or people that he observed, or people that you and I hung out with that were good examples in high school or at any point in life, whether they know it or not, all of those things it's like adding bits of light, like particles of light, and accumulating that more and more until finally we see something a little more clearly that gives us like a hope, right? We can see an end, or we can see an opportunity, we can see a chance to improve our lives or to change a habit or whatever. And I'm no professional at any means. I'm just but I know, like, in my heart of hearts that that's how it works. Like, it can be big huge moments that change us on a big, pivot, but at least in my experience and a lot of the people that I have been close to, it is like particles of light that kind of build on each other from these experiences that just bring wholesomeness, goodness, positivity, positive energy, um, kind of culminate together and then give us opportunities to do something about it, make a choice.
Mm.
Anyway.
Oh man, that's so good. Like when we were, it made me think in the, as we're recording, our logo is in the top corner of the recording here, and you look at what we put when we went through a variety of different logos when we were trying to come up with this, and the one that we all looked at was the sun, the family together, and the sun in the background, rising, right, and lifting, and it's so incredibly true. We've been talking about the gratitude and service and all these things, and you think about what that does to light people's inner being, and how it really pushes them and positions them to be it's something. And yeah, that's powerful, absolutely powerful in what that does. That often forgotten about. The dark is the absence of light, and having those two things. So love that.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
why Mike's
interesting for
Mike, your
sure.
like your microphone is like on.
Mine?
Yeah.
What do
I
you
don't know
mean?
what it's doing. I don't know. I feel like I can just hear it nonstop.
I
What'd you
mean,
do?
just step away.
Go
I
ahead
don't know.
and talk. Yeah, no, it's all good.
I was just going to compliment really both of you in the sense of being the younger brother in this room, by the way, much younger.
Oh
Um
wow.
is honestly the light that you guys share in that sense. Now, we all have grown up in a growth or a family, I should say, of jokesters, and I think that carries light. You know what I mean? Um, but I think we all use it, and by I mean you guys do a very good job of spreading that with your personalities. I was just telling Mitch right before we started, you need to continue your campaigns online, because they brought so much light, but they were promoting a product, but they were just so fun and exciting. And I could say, I know that guy,
I know, right? I know.
But
Totally.
just stuff like that. I think you guys both do a very good job of spreading that with the talents and the personalities that you have. Honestly, I think we're all raised that way, and it shows for sure how much relationships mean. I mean, we all, and I would imagine Mitch is based on this, but Nate and I, we grew up with our dad saying it's not in it's in who you know and not what you know. And that's a true belief, and I live by that. I mean, everything I've ever gotten is pretty close to that. Is just because of the relationships I've had. And so anyway, just kudos to you guys. So thank you.
Well, thanks, Mike.
Yeah. That might be the first time I've ever heard you compliment me.
We haven't spent a lot of time around each other, Mitch.
We need to change that.
Yeah. Now that we're all here.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm beating a dead horse, but it really, for me, it's hard to feel like you have I'm not it's hard to feel that we can be the one to go and lighten the mood and add all this good positivity and fix things. Like sometimes we can't, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we can still choose to just be ourselves. Like you said, the gifts, the talents that we have, we all have them. We all have these gifts and talents. I just got to come from a concert with 6th graders playing the cello, and there's talent out there, and it's not all musical, but we just have to we have to release the inhibitions and not be afraid to be ourselves and just try to be helpful and positive and stuff. I remember when I feel like I'm just talking about my dad, but when he was battling the cancer, and there was one day, in fact, we just made sweatshirts, crew neck sweatshirts for Christmas for the family with this slogan on it. But the slogan comes from this story, which he was not doing well. It was near the end. Things were not going good. And we were all in the kitchen kind of playing games and visiting and stuff, but it was really somber. Not a lot of fun. And he came back, and he's the guy struggling after chemo and, counting his days. And he just walks back in the room. He's like, what is going on in here? We need some more livey-jivey, And I'm like, okay. So that was our logo. It was like a little dancing figure with him, stick figure, in the livey-jivey text. And just a little reminder that, yeah, we all got problems. We got plenty of problems, but we can use a little more livey-jivey, and it's not going to hurt. And anyway, so
I love that. I was going to ask you. So, I mean, your experience, with your dad. I think Mike and I can say that the way that our experience with our mom in cancer was, we didn't have time to figure out what was happening, right? It was diagnosed 3 weeks later, gone. And it was just fast. Now, Melissa was different. Melissa fought for 7 years, right? And just
almost
battled, almost 8 years. And I know that the impact that played in the learning with Mike, with Whitney, with me, I think we all experienced a different level of message, if in that regard, of what we learned from that experience, whether it be about ourselves or whether it be about just in general. What do you think you could pinpoint, or maybe there's not a way for you and your siblings? I mean, you have more than just four of you. But how do you think that has impacted your dad's the loss of your dad, but then the lessons that you guys have now been able to share together, and remember about him? What has that done for you guys as a family?
That is a really good question because I don't know that we've talked that directly or poignantly. Is that the right word? I don't
That's
know.
the right word.
Poignantly
Sorry,
about
I
it.
make up my own words most of the time, so do what you need to do.
we haven't really spent. I mean, we've talked about it over the years in group settings, and more like reminiscing and sharing memories, and general talk. I don't think we've talked about how our own personal effect of that experience for each of us as individuals went. Um, I would say that um, overall, it's been interesting to see how some of his beliefs and philosophies and characteristics and things that were important to him, they carry on. Like, it's part of the legacy. It's part of what we try to retain as his kids. And, some of that is, golf game, not by me. I'm not a golfer. Wish. um, but his attitude, his philosophy, the comedic relief. I mean, we're not funny, but we pretend, and you know, but just trying to do some of those little things has, I think, is indicative of um how impactful he was as a father figure on developing people and not just learning life, if that makes sense. I
Oh,
don't know if that
totally.
I don't know if that makes
Totally.
a differentiation, but um yeah, I don't know if that answered your question very well, but
No, I think that's interesting. I think everybody goes through the process of understanding impact differently, right? I think we can all. I mean, heck, you look at the reflection going back to Bert Williams, the appreciation that you can have about somebody that you've never met, that you've only ever heard about, is huge, and being able to there's always something that when we lose somebody, when we just understand the impact that they play in our life in any capacity, and how that impact positions us into the catalyst or the tipping point for whatever we go into next. Um, we have shared several times. One of the most famous things about Melissa was she was so good about just picking up the phone and calling somebody or sending them a message or doing something because they popped into her mind. She was it was an incredible impact. I can think of so many times that she would just randomly, "Hey brother, just want to let you know I love you." And you're like, "Well, gosh dang it. Why wasn't I the first one to say that?" Like, ah, man. And now to this day, and I've shared that on here, I will be just on a road, and I drive everywhere for work most of the time. And it is very common. I'll have Coldplay on because that was her favorite band, and I am just in tears driving down the road, because that's the impact. I mean, she was only 14 months younger. I mean, from both of
yeah.
us. I mean, our birthdays are right next to each other. So, like, that was, she was always a year younger in school and everywhere and everything that we did. And so, big impact. My mom, I think Mike would agree, was different. It was a parental impact. It was not, it was lessons learned, and it was memories and moments. Um, and Melissa was experiences and memories and moments, and some of the different stuff that you don't get out of the parent side of that. And it just kind of, and we've talked about it a lot, about what that's done. but we positioned ourselves to do that, right? Like we started a podcast. Mike had this idea, and it just kind of turned into something. So it's been, as Mike said, appreciation for having it and how therapeutic it becomes. But I'm just talking again.
I think it's great. Honestly, a thought came to mind, and I hope it lands the way I want it to. But so, you talk about we talk about the things that we've learned from, in this particular situation we've just covered, is loss, right? Those things that have carried on because of that loss. So I can vividly remember, I've talked about this before. I don't know if I've talked about it on here or just, I know I've had conversations with Megan, my wife, but I can think of some things that I've learned after every loss that I've had. So we lost our first child after 13 days. We lost Trenton just shy of his 8th birthday. A year later, lost my mom, and then 3 months later, lost Melissa. Those are just 4 direct, very close, members of my family that, and I can vividly remember different things that stood out to me that I learned from those experiences. As you were talking, Nate, a thought came to mind is, why does that not happen when we go through other challenging times? Why do we tend to forget some of those things that we've learned? Because it's just life. I know for me, sometimes I'm just like, oh, it's just life. I live almost too optimistically in things. And so, how do we change that view? I mean, I know talking about it helps, right? But at the same time, it's it's interesting because there's plenty of other experiences in my life that I've gone through, that had nothing to do with loss, that I dealt with sometimes personally, that I was able to get through, right? That I feel like I should continue to try and remember those as if they were like a loss, right? Because I remember those same things about Melissa, and I remember those same lessons that Mom taught me, and all of that. But how come it doesn't come up regular enough, about those types of things?
It's interesting. I mean, just real quick, my thought, I'd love to hear what you have to say about that, Mitch. But my thought is I think oftentimes we're just grateful that we made it through.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like whether it's a challenge, a good thing, I don't think it has to be just a challenging thing. I think, we don't take enough time as a society to enjoy the good and understand the bad. If that makes any sense? Like I can think of several different things. Like we do. So I oversee all the claims for our company, and one of the things we do an RCA, root cause analysis, on every single loss, and we're trying to learn from it. We're trying to better understand how it happened, why it happened, and then to make sure it doesn't happen again. Right? Like you can't, if you don't have visibility to something, you can't see it. That's why it's called visibility, right? You can't see it and you can't fix it. So you've got to be able to create visibility by doing something like this. But I think, Mike, to your point, we don't spend enough time, old school journaling. Like, write it down, remember it. Like we don't do that stuff. Dude, I have got probably a total of six pages of journals. Okay. And that dates back to a long time ago. So believe me, I'm not saying if anything, I was looking in the mirror and telling myself to do it, but that's what I think. I think we just don't spend enough time trying to understand.
So, I think it's a really interesting point that you bring up, Mike. And I agree with you, Nate. I feel like taking that time, we don't, I think that's part of the element, is generally we don't take enough time to do that. And it's interesting. I don't really know I hope this is right, but, it's like you talk about journaling, which I am horrible at.
Yeah.
But what journaling is a moment taking time to reflect on stuff, right? And reflection is I'm getting way above my pay grade here, but reflection is just light bouncing, right? So it's illuminating something in our lives, bringing clarity as these, these light waves of life reflect back on what we have just experienced. And do we take time to give that a chance? Do we give an opportunity to have that reflection and illuminate our life and experience so that we can remember those lessons? I think so. That was one thing.
Ooh,
Another thing
I
that
feel like there's another T-shirt that you need to make. I think.
okay, I like T-shirts, so let's do it.
Above average man now.
Above average man.
You're above
Yeah,
average.
that's it. I'm not just an average guy. I'm an above average guy now.
Slightly above average. But I mean, again, I don't want to get like super like deep and philosophical, but I do think that there's like an element of I think that means something. I think there's something to that. Another part that I wanted to just share. I'll probably butcher this because I don't know the exact quote, and I think I have to credit Tony Robbins on this one.
Keep it
But
clean.
he has a quote that says something to the effect of, when we trade in our expectation for appreciation, then our life, we find more joy and happiness. And so I think sometimes we go through hard things in life, and they are hard, but they're hard in part because we have these expectations of how we think life is going to go, and it doesn't go that way all the time. And when it doesn't, our expectations go out the window and our world is rocked, and that's hard. But on the flip side, if we limit those and we try to just have more appreciation, like the people that we've lost, man, I'm appreciative of the people that I've known that I can't associate with right now in the same way or whatever, but like there's a lot of appreciation for those moments. And so that's why hug your family today and all the bumper stickers and stuff, and they're cliche, but they mean something because you never know. And so just having more appreciation instead of expectation softens the blow a little bit, I think.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Well,
I need to look up the actual quote, but
yeah, man, we'll find it because I think it plays a big it plays part in the level of meaning in the conversation that we've had tonight. Like I think that makes that expresses what I think a lot of us, give ourselves a little bit of grace personally because we're going to be okay. And and it's hard to get through things, but when you change that, I like that expectation for appreciation. It changes a lot of stuff in us. And we're better off because of like your dad said, the relationships. The relationships make us who we are, and they develop us, and they're the building blocks, and they do so much to benefit us in as a whole. And we learn from it, we grow from it, and we become better. So, well, it's been an amazing conversation. Appreciate you being on here. I think we need a, what is it? The Lift Me Up After Dark, or maybe we'll just we'll get in a good story session. I have one story. Okay, I have one story. So I go down to Mitch's bedroom one day, and we're religious.
I don't know where this is going.
We're religious families, and the law of the tithe is a real thing. Okay.
Oh.
And I walk into Mitch's room and I was like, dude, we're gonna go to a movie. Let's go to a movie. And he's like, he goes, hold on. he has this jar and it says tithing
gosh.
in it, right?
I have a feeling I know where this is going.
And he reaches in and he grabs a $20 bill and he grabs a piece of paper and goes, "I owe you $20," and he puts it back into the tithing jar. I have not been so
Epic.
just like, what just happened? Like,
It's fine. It's fine.
It was so funny.
You sacrificed for a relationship, Mitch. That was
right.
Dang
It
right.
was,
we had to go
the higher moral purpose. The movie. I'm sure the movie was good, right?
I think it was okay. I mean, who knows? I mean, we
probably
drove a
Cool Runnings or something in the mid-90s.
We either drove there in an old Ford pickup or an old Ford sedan, one or the other.
Yeah,
one of us was driving an old Ford.
That's funny.
We had some awesome memories, and I think I have more of Mitch than he has of me. But
if we have the old pool table that we used to have in the basement, then we can look and find out who your crushes used to be because you wrote it with the chalk, pool chalk underneath.
There was a lot of that. I can remember a lot of sitting in that basement watching Atlanta Braves baseball.
Oh,
because,
man.
Right? A whole bunch of baseball we would watch down there.
In the 90s.
Funny story. Our dad lives in that house that Mitch grew up in. Well, we own that house that Mitch grew up in. So there's a lot more connection to this relationship here than
you got to come over and look at it now, though. It's entirely different.
If we could just peel some of the paint off to reveal the lower levels, we'd find some secret messages for sure.
Black light.
Lots of that. No, none of that. Yeah. So anyway, but it was wonderful. Appreciate you, man. And it was great. And I think we need to have another episode with Mitch for more of this conversation. So
a bonus. So our people can check in. Oh,
yes,
that's right.
7 of our family members that care about us.
All right, everybody. Anyway. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you listening and watching. Make sure you share it. Get it out to everybody you know. There's a lot of amazing conversation out there. And like Mike said, we want to know more about what you want to listen to. We've shared it in the past, and we really appreciate the engagement and everything you do on the social media side of that. So with that, have a wonderful rest of your week, and we will talk to you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.
This has been Lift Me Up. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe so more people get the content. We can't wait to be back for the next show. But in the meantime, find us on Facebook and Instagram at liftmeup.podcast and the website at liftmeuptalks.online.